On Sunday at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, the Jermyn Historical Society is sponsoring a church tour of all the churches of Jermyn. They're going to meet here at the United Methodist Church parking lot at 517 Washington Avenue, and we'll tour all of the churches in Jermyn that are here and were here, ones that are no longer churches and ones that were built and then torn down. We'll explain the very first church and all of the churches and their dates and when they were built. We'll give you a little information on when the big pipe organs were put in and different additions were added onto the churches, when their kitchens were added, and a little bit of the history of every church will be explained by someone from each church. So it'll be an enjoyable afternoon. We'll have a trolley. Everybody's going to get a ride in the trolley or in a vehicle. So as we go from church to church, it should be about an hour and a half tour. And we'd love to see you on Sunday the 10th at 2 o'clock at the Methodist Church parking lot on Main Street in Jermyn. Alright, this is the First United Methodist Church. This is where we're going to meet and start our tour. This is what it looked like before the new siding was put on. Roughly this is what it would have looked like in 1892 when it was first built. Then we're going to go down to the St. James Episcopal Church, which was built in 1874, I believe, and all the wood was taken from this area. Then we're going to go to St. Michael's Russian Orthodox Church in Jermyn. This is the church that was built after the first original church caught on fire and they moved to the new location. The original church was on Lackawanna Avenue. Then we will go to the Calvary Bible Church, which was later a Baptist church and is now a home. We'll tour the outside of that one and explain a little bit of the history of it. And then we're going to go to the Catholic Church. This church was built, and the first church that was here was brought up from Archibald when they tore down the church in Archibald and brought it here, and that was used until this one was built. They had their first services in the basement of this church and used the old church as a hall, and then that caught on fire and then it was demolished. And this is the Primitive Methodist Church. This was built in 1895. They used to meet on Rushbrook Street in a hall, and they had enough people to get put together to make a congregation that needed a big church, and they built a church on Jefferson Avenue and Division Street. And the only church that's missing is the Welsh Congregational Church. The Welsh Congregational Church is the site of our museum to be. It was built in 1884, and it was no longer used as a church in 1913. Then it became a house and then 2 apartments, and then the Historical Society purchased it, and we are currently restoring it to be a museum, research center, and library for the people of Jermyn and outside the area that want to come in and do a little bit of history of the Upper Valley. And that's going to be our tour of the churches of Jermyn.